Good evening, everyone. It is such a great time for TV comedy out there right now. From Parks and Recreation to Cougar Town and from Louis to the United States of Terra, there is literally something for everyone, including my old German grandmother. Now, for me, one show stands above all the rest of those great comedies, and that show is the show we're here to celebrate tonight, Community. Now, you guys are in for a treat, as there's just so much fun to be had with these people. I've seen them a number of times, and they're always a great time because the show they're on is so wonderful. And I think the Paley's going to keep inviting them back for the next 50 years when they're all in rascal scooters and Chevy Chase is a Futurama-esque head in a jar. I'm here to introduce the panelists for this evening. We are going to start with the guy at the end of the show, and it says Krasnoff Foster Productions. This is the Krasnoff. Russ Krasnoff, please. Next off, he plays the pansexual wunderkind, Dean Pelton, Jim Rash. You've already talked to him a little bit, but he's the man from whose brain all this sprung. It is Dan Harmon, the creator and executive producer. When I first heard about this show, my editor said, hey, there's some new show that stars Joel McHale and Chevy Chase. This is Joel McHale. He plays Jeff Winger. This season alone, he has been an alien, clay animated, and worried about a bottle episode. It's Danny Pudi who plays Abed Nadir. She has a tendency to ruin things, but she's really nice once you get to know her. Gillian Jacobs, who plays Britta. One of the two guys who direct so many of the episodes that are your favorites. He's an executive producer and a director on the show, Anthony Russo. And now the other guy who directs a lot of the episodes is an executive producer on the show, Joe Russo. At one time, he was a Spanish teacher. Now he's just a student and Jeff's roommate. It's Ken Jeong, who plays Senor Chang. Occasionally evil, almost always a terrible person, comedy legend Chevy Chase plays Pierce Hawthorne. And she has had a really strange season, but she's coming through it in stride. Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays Shirley. And finally, you guys are going to be so excited when you hear who this is. You are going to erupt in just enormous cheers. I just know it. It's Garrett Donovan, executive producer.
can.
Working.
Yeah, they say hi.
Sorry.
All right, I want to direct this first question at Mr. Dan Harmon. What can we be looking forward to in the rest of this season?
We are going to tell some stories and learn some things. I'm distracted by the fact that, can the camera cut to Todd again? Because it unintentionally, you could key out his body because the shirt's the same color as the curtain behind it. In his close-up, I mean, it could be a floating head if you key out the you can look at it later. That's just for video files. We're gonna, you know, Shirley's gotta drop the papoose. You knew that was gonna happen when she got pregnant. You knew that wasn't gonna happen over the summer. It's going to happen in an episode. She will give birth.
Babies.
Yeah.
Triplets.
There's some other stuff. I have a really hard time.
Abed's going to take a
But
class.
the spoiler thing, because I feel like I want everybody to discover and open it up like the new peanut butter and smell that new peanut butter.
Garrett is apparently fine with spoiling everything,
Yeah,
so.
it's full. Abed's going to
I'll be conceiving.
Conceiving.
just because he's going to take a class that focuses on who's the boss and
Yeah.
asks the question who actually was the boss.
Okay, all right.
Critical analysis of who's the boss.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit. You guys do so many crazy episodes, and this is, I guess, a question for Garrett and Dan again. Where do those ideas come from? Do you say we want to do an episode with zombies, or do you say we want to do an episode where Troy is the hero and the zombies come in later?
In the zombie example, we definitely, I wanted to do zombies for Halloween. Most of the time, what people, because, you know, I see on Twitter, like, people will go, hey, you should do Officer and a Gentleman. You should do,
You just gained a viewer, sir.
There's nothing wrong with that because that's the bed that we lie in when we do what we do. But the reason we do that actually is because it's a story-driven show, and I'm unhealthy. Like, I was raised on TV and movies, so when I'm standing in the writer's room, I tend to talk in this sort of stained glass mosaic of a bunch of crap that no one's seen before or didn't bother to memorize. So like, yeah, I saw Gremlins 2, but why are you borrowing from it? And so I just sort of like, it's just because of how my brain works. And so as an aesthetic layer to help tell the stories that we're trying to tell, sometimes we end up then going, okay, what if the camera was wearing this hat or this hat? So in terms of these sort of like thematic episodes that we do, that's how those come about. They come about very late in the game, actually. The most specific example being the Chicken Fingers episode from first season. It wasn't until leaning on the hits. If you're it wasn't until way late in the game that started, like midstream in the development of that episode. It was like it was going to be like Robert Redford's The Election, that movie, or the Candidate.
Wow.
Like because it was a different thing, and then it was like halfway through that was like cameras were going to roll in 2 days, and then it became a Scorsese thing. But it was always about chicken fingers, and it was always about power. It was always about a rivalry between you and someone else. It changed from Troy to Abed, blah blah blah, but. Wow, now I'm getting fascinating. Let's turn it back to you.
Okay.
That said, we're doing a parody of Small Wonder and Bridge Over the River Kwai in the same.
But it's organic, is my point.
Yeah, right.
It's for an artistic reason. It's not Family Guy. It's high art.
So for the cast, how soon do you know about this sort of thing? I mean, do you hear about the zombies when the script hits your doorstep, or do you know about it ahead of time? And how do you prepare to do that crazy stuff?
Sometimes we find out hi everybody, thanks for coming. Sometimes we find out in advance, like we were at Comic-Con last year and Dan let us know that we were doing an Apollo 13. So we found that out at the same time the Comic-Con fans found out. And then before we did it, we all got together and watched Apollo 13 at Danny's house to make sure that we were, would hit everything right when we did the Chicken Bus episode. So sometimes we know in advance. And then
Joel wasn't invited for that.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was not invited to this party.
Jim, you weren't there?
No, you know I wasn't there. You know I Because if I was there, I'd be talking some interesting things. I'm out of here.
But probably the best line of that season, those aren't thumbs.
Those aren't thumbs. Yeah, why are all these things?
Why are these public
Why are all
bathrooms?
these restrooms in public? Yeah, what is it? Restrooms?
Truck stops.
Truck stops and restrooms circled.
Circled.
And,
Love our show.
Yeah. Sorry.
and Joe and Anthony, I assume this show is done on a TV budget. How do you guys come up with ways to pull all of that off on more of a limited budget that you might get in a feature film?
You're getting to a very sore subject area.
It's a complex show to pull off, but sometimes we borrow from other episodes. I mean, there's the bottle episode that the critic calligraphy that we did. We shot that in 4 days, so you sort of bank money because everything's on a 5-day schedule. So if we do an episode in 4 days, we get the money from that 5th day, and we get to apply it to a more ambitious episode. So it's a little bit of bartering as you go through the season. There were a handful of episodes this year that were shot in 4 days, or we shot documentary in 3.5 days. That went really quickly because we used different kind of cameras and a different lighting setup that played into the conceit of the episode that allowed us to move very quickly.
That's why we came in under budget, right, Joe?
That's under budget.
Yeah, and conversely, we shoot other episodes in 6, 7, or more days. Many more.
Now, Yvette, as we saw in the episode that aired tonight, you and Malcolm Jamal Warner have a very nice chemistry, even though he's only been in a couple of episodes.
Yeah. Woo! That just made her day. That just made her night.
I'm so sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
How do you guys develop that kind of relationship when you're working with a guest star who's not there all the time?
Well, you know what? I've been a fan of his. I've said this everywhere. I've been a fan of his since I was like 12 or 13. So I've been working on my chemistry with him for years. Years. And I kind of felt like if I ever met him, we'd be buddies, and it kind of worked out that way. I met him and we, like in between takes, we would talk. Each of us never went to our trailers. We always stayed on set and we were in a corner talking. And he's so intelligent, you guys. He's like a lovely, lovely man. And so I think the chemistry is completely coming from my end because I just love him so much. But yeah, so that's how we kind of worked it out.
Okay. And as I mentioned in the intro, you've had a very strange season. You may have conceived a child during the zombie apocalypse.
I may.
How do you play the emotions of that when it's so weird and keep the emotions real?
You know what? It helps when you're acting opposite Ken Jeong because he always is so much fun to play with. And then, the set is a zombie apocalypse, so it's not like it's not green screen. So we see all this stuff. So you're being chased, and the makeup department is amazing and did an amazing job with these actors. So you really have somebody trying to kill you, chasing you down the hallway. So by the time you get into the bathroom, maybe you will hook up with somebody. You feel like it's the end of your life, So I think that's, what makes it real. So yeah. Right, Ken?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Now, Chevy, Pierce has done some very awful things this season. I sometimes hear that writers on TV shows take from their actors' real lives. How much of that comes from your life?
How much of what?
No, but Pierce has become kind of a villain. Do you ever worry that he's being pushed too far in that direction?
I think Pierce worries that he's being pushed too far. The character of Pierce, give me 15 minutes here, just wants to really be, accepted he doesn't want to be left out. He has the emotional mind of a 13-year-old, ADHD, just about everything that you could have. And I love playing a guy like that because it's so close to who I am. So when he's angry or hurt, it's inappropriate taking out on others. It's mean and just over the top. There's really no learning curve for Pierce because he doesn't even know the meaning of the word curve. He just is who he is. And I like playing that because in all of my other work, I just play me. Which is pretty much what I'm doing as Pierce, too.
Garrett, did you ever worry?
Don't you have another question for me?
I'll come back to you.
That's all right. I mean, but sometimes I give my whole salary to the, to make the episodes work.
Did you and the writers room ever worry that you were making Pierce irredeemable or something that?
Yeah, we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, we worry about that a lot.
And you know what's great writing TV in this day and age? You can get instant feedback from the fans, and that was definitely a theme out there after some of the recent episodes, is that Pierce is getting too mean. But we definitely, down the road this season, we address that. And
I get one fan letter a week now. Before I was even on the show, I got 2,000-3,000. So yeah, I think it's something they ought to worry about.
That's because you don't have email.
Yeah, you don't, right, you don't have email.
I have emails in New York.
It's in New York.
But if you look at Chevy's performance in the D&D episode, it is...
I know, that's the best. I mean, his performance in the D&D episode, that's the best I've seen on the series. Honestly, the thing that gives me no end of joy, Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh.
Yeah, it was...
I grew up on like chess, you know.
But also, we had a natural antagonist in season 1 with Senior Chang, you know, and the show was really centered more around us in the Spanish class, and that structure shifted in the second season, and you see us away from Greendale, like in this episode that you saw tonight, and so it also helps to sort of like shift the conflict from us versus Senior Chang to more internalized within the group, and so I think that's been a really nice way to sort of expand the show in season 2 and integrate different dynamics.
Do it, Gillian.
That's not a word. Different dynamic internally in the group. That's what
Chevy, did you take how to play an antagonist notes from Ken, or did you just know?
No, you know, I've always worked very closely with backstory and how I may have been as a child. I think about those things as I'm coming out of the trailer door and going onto the set. And I look at the lines, and if it's possible, I can hide them somewhere. Things happen for me. And if that doesn't work, I just clown around. No, I don't. I really don't. What's the name of the show again?
I believe it's
Modern Family.
Community.
Please.
I gotta go soon.
So,
I got a thing.
Ken, you tend to play really aggressive moments for laughs.
What? What?
How do you modulate that? How do you modulate that? How do you keep from going too far?
Modulate. Sorry.
Honestly, it's all the writers. I mean, they basically tell me when to chang it up or tone it down.
Chang it up.
It is really, honestly, I just trust them and like, you know, and the directors like Joe and Ant to tell me, you know, where to turn it up and where not to. But it really is just, I found this season to be so creatively fulfilling because the characters have been established, and thanks to you know, we actually have, you know, people that care about the characters, and it gives the writers more freedom, and it gives the actors more confidence. So I found this season, in many ways, although everyone worked very hard, creatively it's been kind of effortless. Where I just
a little ass.
You look
Give
great.
it to them, and then
There's a
everybody
scene.
else.
Yeah, I want to say
It's you who are good.
There's a scene that Ken, it's going to be quick in one of the episodes coming up where Ken sings to what could be his baby.
No, that's the one that aired tonight.
That's the one there. Okay, you saw the part where we went, ha, 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 ha. All right, Ken kept breaking himself up during it.
I've never...
And if you show just that 5 minutes where he was trying to get
5
through,
minutes, it was like an hour.
It was an hour.
It was the best
So
and
Ken,
worst moment of my career.
What he does to counteract his laughing is say cancer, dead babies, cancer, dead babies.
Will yell.
He will yell it.
It's abortion.
It's 100%. It's 100%.
We're all turning around.
It's 100% true. It's 100. I mean, yeah. I mean, sometimes I don't know. You just start getting giddy, and then when you become friends with everybody in the cast, you just start, like, me and Pootie will just go on these laughing jags, and they just can't. I get panic attacks sometimes. Like, will I ever get out of this? Am I wasting so much money right now? I get panicked, and I wouldn't trade it for the world because, like, you're genuinely having a laugh every day at work, and I mean, how many of us can say that? You work I've had other day jobs where I never laughed, So.
Rub it in.
It was called furry.
Real doctor.
Snap.
Oh, snap.
Come on, Joel.
Oh, snap. That diss was brought to you by the S.
Gillian,
Yes.
you have gotten to play a lot of physical comedy this season. That is not something you did a lot of in season 1, a little bit, but was that something that came naturally to you? Had you done physical comedy before, or was that something new for you?
I think my physicality is naturally humorous because I'm a very awkward person without a lot of grace. So they say dance and people laugh. And like the stuff that I did tonight in the episode that you saw with the genie's bottle singing. And,
that was one of my favorite moments.
Thank you. I just felt embarrassed after every take, and I think that's a really good sign. I'd never done comedy really before this show. And so I was just relying on the things that had made me laugh in my own life and made people around me laugh at me. And I guess we've integrated those into the show now. And I'm really grateful for that. And it's been really fun to go from the girl on the pedestal in the pilot to, like, you're the worst, please leave. And people would prefer death to my presence. And yeah, it's a real dream come true.
Now, how frequently, you're frequently called a buzzkill on the show. How much of that is from real life?
I will take it to the panel.
Never.
No, not at all.
I think that I'd say, like, Britta is me minus therapy, so hopefully I've worked through some of the issues that she's still grappling with. I used to be a bit more self-serious and, like, take really hard lines on political issues, women's issues, stuff like that, but now I don't really care anymore, so.
And then you worked with Chevy for 2 years.
I'd say that I hopefully I can laugh at myself a lot more than Britta can. And I try not to kill the boats.
Or anybody else, for that matter. I'm just kidding.
Danny, the Christmas episode, which is one of my favorite episodes of the show, very much centered on your character. And there was some really dark stuff in that episode.
Yeah.
Did you ever worry it was going to depress the hell out of everyone watching the show?
No, because it was in clay. I was really depressed when I read it, but that's why I loved it, because I thought it was, so sweet in this magical journey. But I think Gumdrop Lane and Wizard Duncan and Teddy Pierce helped brighten it up a little bit. The minute, and of course, my favorite thing, which is Snow Chang.
Work the third button.
Work the third button, yeah. That to me is such, to think about that being only on the air 3 months ago is just shocking to me, because we've done so much this year, and the fact that we were literally in clay for an entire episode, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how anybody did it. And we got to go actually visit the studio and see them make the dolls and stuff. And it was really funny because one of the people that was making the dolls was like, "It's very interesting to make an awkward shaped body like you." And she was, so I thought that was sweet. I think she was like a German lady.
Did she really say that?
Yeah, but she meant it in a nice way. But I love that episode because it does, it's a very sweet episode at the end of it. It is looking for the meaning of Christmas, and it is kind of a journey that Abed goes on to kind of move on. His mom's with a new family now, and there is a good message there. And I think being in clay and being so colorful, and it was really beautifully done. It's so beautiful to me that I think that it's kind of uplifting. And it actually aired on Christmas night too, so I watched it with my family at home. And all of this is very surreal. The fact that there's people here, like you're down here, and there's people up there, and you're here because of community is shocking. And thank you guys so much for this, because this is amazing. But so like, this is crazy. This is all crazy, you know. And then the fact that you're at home on Christmas, like in Chicago, and your mom's shoving, you know, pierogi in your face, and you're watching a community Christmas special on TV. It's just, it's I don't know, it's a gift. And so that's something that I can't even believe we did, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
Garrett.
Yvette.
Joel. So Joel,
Yeah.
one of
I have
the
part.
things that has come up a lot this season is the idea of parents letting down their children, and now you are sort of the group's father figure, but you're also,
Letting
I guess,
down your
starting on a
parents.
quest to find your own father. What is that like to play for you?
Wow.
Or will you be encountering your father at some point in the near future?
Yeah, we'll meet Jeff's father. I'm just kidding. No, he's half horse, half man. Yeah, the hospital episode where that's where we really see Jeff's where a lot of his insecurities come from, or his overcompensating with confidence comes from, and that episode was really so much fun to act in. One, because I got to beat the shit out of Chevy, and that was a dream come true.
Several times.
Not in the car.
I got dragging him out of a town car in a hospital
I love
gown
it.
was the strain. It was really fun, but it was really.
Two guys, 205. Now they're pulling them out and
Yeah.
banging me on the thing and beating me up. That was a lot of fun. I like that.
It was really fun. Yeah, Jeff's got a lot of issues that hopefully in season 3. What's so great is that we're not like so many traditional sitcoms where Jeff has like an epiphany or a character has an epiphany, and they're all different. He has stayed pretty much the same, and much like erosion, it takes a long time for people to change. And so he definitely has admitted to the group that he loves them, and this is the first time ever. But as soon as you bring up these little trapdoors in his life, like his father, watch out, because he will beat you, as he did Pierce. So yeah, his father even might be LeVar Burton, which would be very difficult for Troy.
And every time I write about the show, I get a vocal group of people who say, you know, Jeff should be with Annie, no, Jeff should be with Britta, no, Jeff should be with Pierce. As the hub of so much of that, I guess you'd call it shipper attention. Are you aware of that, or does that affect you in any way?
Yeah, I just offended that no one thinks that Shirley and Jeff should be.
I am too.
Yeah!
I am too.
No, thank God that people make videos and on YouTube and put music to them, and some of the best advertisement that we've had for the show. And it's because people just tonight, a reporter was like, "How dare you get together with Annie?" And I was like, "She's 19, so can't be arrested." But yeah, I don't know who I think even in Jeff's mind, I think he's always like, "Well, that's pretty good. Well, hey, it's like a wonderful dessert display." No, I'm kidding. No, he's as uncommittal as the show has kind of has visited different relationships in the show.
Jim, the show has built.
Jim Rash.
It's going to be a series regular next year.
The show has built such a wonderful supporting cast of people who aren't necessarily in every episode, but they're always funny when they come in. Will we ever get to see an episode from Dean Pelton's point of view, or would that horrify us all too much?
In my mind, I've been on many adventures.
Dean Dangerous.
Time desk.
Dean Dangerous. In my time desk, I've been in lots of adventures. I would hope so. Even if no one ever sees it, I'd love to see where Dean lives. I'd love to see his dirty, dirty apartment. Dan and I were actually joking that it's probably all black light. Because I feel like he's just being upfront about it. Hey, look, it's dirty in here, man. So I'm just being outright with you, okay? You see what's here. But it's been such a blessing. This is that weird thing where you transition to the real answer and get serious. It's been such a blessing to the writers, Dan and the writers and everything, about just nurturing the world outside of just the study group, because they affect the whole school. And to be able to revisit all these great characters, whether in a minimal capacity or a little bit larger now and then, it just expands more about their characters. So it's just sort of nice to grow this world outside of what traditionally a show would do, which is this week this happens. Because I think it's so funny that certainly in the first season, I would just come in and tell just these people. Just so you know, here's what's going to happen to you. Bye! You know. But now, I mean, it's just.
That's the episode I want to do really bad. The cold open is just like we set up all these stories with them. Like Troy's like, I'm gonna grow a mustache, and Shirley's like, I'm gonna change what I eat, and I'm gonna take a ski class, and then you come in, hey everybody, just letting you know this is going on. But then the camera follows you. Yeah. And for 20 minutes, we just descend into the dean's world.
That's awesome.
And you come back around, and Shirley, sure enough, she's eating something different. Troy's got a mustache, but we followed you the whole time.
Awesome.
No, I think my favorite.
That's it, man. You do it.
I vote for that.
Yeah. I think my favorite moments in this show are when the dean just says, oh, "Okay, I'm in the room." I mean, and it happens all the time. We are just all over him. I mean,
Jim is like Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. And the way Jeff, you know, or Joel, but Jeff treats him. I mean, it's just. I'm still here. I love that stuff.
Without Jim, without the dean, the way that Jim has, like Rumpelstiltskin, just spins gold every time he opens his mouth.
Yes.
I think the show would be completely different.
I shouldn't tell you for saying that. We talked about it earlier.
Joe and Anthony, everybody asks Dan this question, but I want to ask you, what theme episodes would you like to direct?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one.
That you haven't done yet?
I don't know. I kind of have my, yeah.
You're asked to promote your Back to the Future episode.
And
Preserver, kid.
the DeLorean is parked outside. Yeah.
Pepsi, you gotta pay for it.
I don't know. I think I had mine fulfilled this year, but we can't talk about the spoilers.
Wait, what's the?
You know,
Oh.
I mean, the one that almost killed us. That
Oh,
one.
yeah. Well, you know what? I was walking up the carpet in a wake of spoilers. I think Ken spilled the beans on the memory episode, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
the memory.
wait.
The
The other one that almost killed.
The other one that almost killed.
They all almost killed.
They all
us.
almost killed. Oh, no. I mean, honestly, no. My favorite. We've already done my favorite. It was the Dungeons and Dragons episode. I mean, I was a fantasy geek growing up. Dan was, and I think that was one that was near and dear to us, and we had a blast making it. I don't know if there. Throw it to you, Chris Nolan.
If you're talking about, are you talking about Sergio Leone? Because I spilled that shit all over there.
You did? All right, good. We just finished up like a Sergio Leone homage. Yeah. That maybe we can call Modern Warfare 2, but it's its own deal, and then it sort of finds a clever way to segue into another genre halfway through an hour-long finale, and that was a blast.
By the way, I just want to say this because I don't know, it's been said, but we don't have two of the funniest and best here.
Yes.
What's his name, Donald? We don't have Glover and we don't have Allison because they had other
Allison Brie, yes,
things they
Donald
had
Glover.
to do. But I mean, this. I knew that you'd like that they weren't here, but I can say, as the oldest member of this, and as a man who's done a lot of better comedy than this, no, I can say that this is a fully functioning, hilarious cast now. And last year when we did this, the Paley Center, we were still figuring out, who's who and what our characters are, and now we really know. And that's why I get paid so much more than the rest of them. It's not true. But, I mean, I think when you're asked questions like, what can we expect from, at this point, we really know, and I think particularly Anthony and Joe know, and of course, Dan, we really know our characters and what we can do, and how they're all very malleable. Of course, Pierce is because he's bat, but I mean, they're all fine actors, and God knows what backstage when we were going through the press and stuff, and they were saying, what can we expect? What can we expect? The point really is that there's nothing you can expect, because we're never really sure what to expect until we get that script. And we're capable of anything. We may well do a Glee episode. I think that's a great idea. Just singing our way through it or something. God knows, we'll take on anything. But
have you watched Glee?
No, I haven't watched our show either, though.
Not kidding.
He doesn't even know.
That's not true.
What time are we on, Chip?
What day of the week are we on?
I know.
What day of the week is right now?
Come on, man. I know we're on come on, man. What is it, Thursday? Thursdays, yeah. I know we're on Thursdays. It's at 10 o'clock. Yeah. At 8 o'clock.
All that sort of.
Dan,
Are we on television?
Yeah.
Dan, when you say memory episode, what does that mean?
Oh no.
I don't want to. I'm spoiler averse.
You're filling all the beans tonight.
It's a great episode. It's. We're doing. I was as sure as I was we were only going to get one season. When we got a second season, I was positive we only were going to get 2 seasons. So I made sure, and this is for better or for worse, that I did everything I could ever possibly do second season. So if we get a third season, it's going to be boring. But the good news is, like, I don't know, like, I'm really proud of this season. We did everything I could possibly think to do, and tried, but I'm really excited. It's a fake clip show. That's what it is.
There's 70, how many different scenes? 78?
75 scenes.
There's 75 scenes in 22
In 21
minutes.
minutes.
Because when I was growing up, the clip show is always part of the mythology of the sitcom. That's how you learn certain things about the characters.
What does that mean?
The only downside of a clip show is that you're watching recycled material. So of course we're not going to do that because too easy. We had to kill ourselves. So we shot a bunch of you've never seen from episodes that don't exist, and we do it.
Don't tell him.
I will say that was probably the funniest table read. That was probably the funniest table read
Yes.
that we were at. It's the most jokes in that episode.
Yeah.
And we got to shoot one day that week somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. That's all you need to know.
That may or may
Somewhere.
not be Brazil.
It scared, I know at the table read, it scared us a bit because it was so ambitious, but I don't think we've ever been more excited to kill ourselves. Like it really was from the beginning of that week, we were like, this is gonna be hard, but this is gonna be so worth it, and we can't wait for you guys to see it. We can't wait to see it. It's gonna be great.
It's a very funny episode because you can dispense with narrative because, you know, the conceit of the episode is everything's about flashbacks, so it is a very dense episode from a comedy standpoint.
And there will be harpoons.
And our art department is really, really great. Like if you watch the show and you see something on the wall, they are so thorough that it's like, it really, you can read it all the way through. So when you guys watch the clip show, pay attention to stuff that's on the walls, pay attention to people walking in the background. Like it's rich. It's rich with things that'll make you laugh. So.
And your name?
There's
My
a
name's
glyph
Yvette.
on each
Yvette.
wall.
The glyph.
And if you photograph it with your iPhone and piece them together, you will get a free bowl of oatmeal.
It was the only table read that I've ever been in when after the read was over, the cast members stood up and applauded. I just have never, and it was something that what I normally don't do is just, you know, I just went back home and I just read the script, you know, from front to back, not my stuff. I mean, I just read it front to back. It's like, usually actors are so
nervous. Tune in and just go into it with normal expectations. Yeah. Because I think that these are our only viewers. This is all of you.
You're all here!
So it's very important that you guys maintain a nice limbo of expectations. Don't let your throttle get too high. Expect us to disappoint you so we can impress you. If we lose you, we're just pardon.
No, it's all right.
Pardon my Paley French.
They're used to it.
Are you hopeful for a third season?
No.
Any of the producers?
Hopeful, yes, definitely, mostly for these guys. So.
Yeah. What?
And by the way, just one other thing. Much of our writing staff is sitting right over there, and.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up.
That was awesome.
My wife's here too. Stand up.
I do want to say one thing about the writing staff because first season was very different from second season in one fundamental regard, which is that first season I did not know how to work with anybody. I did this weird Howard Hughes thing in my pajamas at home where I would rewrite every episode for 2 days and people would be calling and going, well, we need the thing. And I'd go, why don't you shoot the one you got? If you want a bad TV show so much, shoot the script you got. I'll see you at the finish line. Show me all the blueprints. And it occurred to me finishing a season like that I was 37 and not 12, and that we were spending a lot of money on a bunch of really talented people that were there to help me. And second season, because of the exhaustion of doing that the first season, I never did that again. So that was just why, for those of you who follow us on Twitter, you see all these references to these writer all-nighters, because we continued to do all that shit, but I dragged these poor 10 people into that horrible, dark process. And we just finished recently, and I've never had that intimate a relationship with a group of people because I'm a bad person. And this season, if you like it more than the first season, you like it because of our writers. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, like, our writing staff is the best writing staff at all.
Now, we've heard that there's going to be a second paintball episode closing out the season. I'd like to hear from the cast. I'm going to start with Yvette because I'm told you have a fairly major role in it. That's what I'm told. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But I'd like to hear, what was it like to return to that sort of situation, and what was it like working with Mr. Josh Holloway?
Oh my. You guys, wow. You know what? Most of us on this panel are huge Lost fans, as probably a lot of you guys are too. So when we found out that Sawyer was coming to Greendale like it was Christmas morning, I was nervous about going back to paintball because it was my favorite episode, and I know it's a lot of you guys' favorite episode, and I was nervous that, I wanted to make sure that we did something that you guys would like as much, because we're at the point now, because our fan base is, some would say small but mighty. We respect you guys, and we want you guys to like what we do because we do it for you. So it's like you guys love it, and it's like going back to something that they absolutely love. It was personally scary for me, but I tend to be scared about everything, so I don't know if that means anything. And Shirley does have a pretty prominent role in part of the episode, and I was very honored, and writers, I was very honored that she was able to play as much as she was able to play.
She gives birth to some paintballs.
And I would like to say...
Shouldn't give it away.
I would like to say that I'm a pretty good shot. I'm a good shot, right?
Absolutely.
I'm a good
2,
shot.
1, yeah.
2. I had to shoot a stunt guy, and I hit him right in the eye and then in the chest. It was pretty impressive. He's alive. Right, calm down. He's alive. But I was.
Tell the story how you slept in the trailer.
Oh well, they tried to kill us. We tried to kill ourselves actually, and we finished at like 3:30 in the morning on Friday night, and we were starting. We had a day shoot the next day, Saturday, and so you're supposed to get 12 hours of sleep as an actor. My agent's here, close your ears. So we're supposed to get 12 hours of sleep, but if I would have taken my 12 hours, it would have pushed the entire production to starting at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and we wouldn't have made it. And I took a hit. I was like, I'll sleep in my trailer. I'm gonna take 4 hours, because I had to be back at 7 a.m. So me and Joe Russo, he slept in Ken's trailer, and I slept in my trailer, and we pretty much pulled an all-nighter so that we could finish.
Ken slept in your trailer too.
No, he didn't. Because it was important for us to finish this episode for you, and we wanted to finish it on time. So it was, my honor to do that.
Sure. And for the rest of the cast, what was that experience like? Are you similarly excited about it?
Oh, God. What? Yes, it's very exciting, and I do something in it that will surprise all of you.
Yes, it will.
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
I won't say that Josh is involved,
Yeah.
but I do.
It's a good tease.
Every show, there's one episode that just doesn't quite work as well as you think it's going to, and there's one episode that works well beyond your wildest expectations. And for the producers, could you tell us an episode that maybe didn't work as well, or an episode that worked much, much better? You've done 49 now, right?
Yeah.
Good
Wow, have we?
There is no chance I'm answering the A part of that question. 0 chance of that.
I know one episode in particular that that went through many emotional relationships with me was the conspiracy theories episode, the Pillow Fort episode. It's something very, very strange about that genre. If you watch a cut of that episode without any of the music that our composer Ludwig Göransson did, then you look at it, and which I did with my friend Dino Stamatopoulos, who plays Starburns and who was a writer.
Yeah!
And sometimes I'll watch a cut on his laptop in his little hovel where he lives. And we watched a cut of that, and there was no music in it yet, and I was like, oh my God, I broke television. and Dino, who usually is sort of my Yoda, he goes like, yeah, that's not just the worst episode of Community ever. That's the worst episode of television ever. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, oh my God, we blew it. It was like in the late stages of post-production that it was like, wait a minute, this thing is this thing is fantastic and great. And I even still then, at the end of it, I thought, the audience is going to hate this. It's so weird and confusing. And what is going on? Like, the half of the cast goes out for burgers in the beginning and just follow this pelican brief plots of that pans out to nothing, but a weird, we wrote it one day at a time while they were shooting it. It was wasn't there like a
gunplay?
Yeah, there was guns in it, and there was like a giraffe at one point.
It was the loudest I ever heard Jim scream.
But then people liked it. I mean, the right people liked it, and I was blown away by that. So that's my primary answer to that question. Is like I was like, holy crap! I didn't think that one would be well received, and it was.
For me, Dungeons and Dragons I thought was amazing, and people were very nervous about that because it wasn't a visual story; it was all imagination. And the other part of the question, I would say, in season 1 at the swimming pool, that episode, we were still finding our way, and that I think is the only one where our act break that was in the script was not how we did it on TV, where we had to actually create a new act break in editing. So that still kind of irks me personally, but it was still a great episode, but that one small thing. Haven't let it go yet.
I know the moment. Oh, go ahead. No, you. I know the moment when I realized I think I'm on the best television show ever that existed, when a monkey hand came up and took a pen. A real monkey. Annie's boobs. And at one point, the monkey hand came up and felt around, and then went.
Yeah. The monkey got it in 2 takes. The second take was for safety. The monkey, the first take went.
Yeah.
Like a Hanna-Barbera, like the monkey knows that it's supposed to feel around for the pen.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Got
it. Roll it.
Give me 10 of those monkeys. Show
Asking a question like this at something like this is always dangerous, so let's go very quickly. Let's just go down the line. What is another comedy on television right now you think is really well done and really funny? And we'll start with Garrett and go down the line as quickly as possible.
I'm still a big fan of The Office. I think it's great.
I'm a 30 Rock girl.
60 Minutes. No. Family Guy.
I like Parks and Rec. I think it's a great show.
I'll say Eastbound and Down.
Yeah. Don't watch TV.
30 Rock.
Yeah, baby.
30 Rock.
It's off the air now, but the Tyra Banks show is the funniest.
The hardest I laugh on the show that I watch over and I'll watch the same episode over and over on TiVo and laugh out loud until I cry right now is the Ricky Gervais show on HBO, the animated podcast.
Charles in Charge, The First Family. Once they changed the family, I was like, I'm out. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
The Daily Show.
All right, it has come to that time. We are going to throw it to you guys. Please raise your hands, and someone will come to you with a microphone. Wow. Stand up, and answer the question with the mic, and ask the question with the microphone. That is the instructions.
Starburns, not the microphone.
Or apparently, if you want to beat traffic, you can just.
Well, why don't we start with the gentleman in the Sonic shirt there in the back.
That's how we got the mic.
This is for Dan Harmon. I know you already mentioned the magic of Gremlins 2, but what would you say is, specifically TV and movies, your main inspiration for comedy?
Felix.
Main inspiration for comedy. The stuff that I grew up watching, Cheers, Taxi, reruns of All in the Family, just the standards that had my family riveted. That is a boring answer, but that's the truth. Like Cheers is probably first and foremost it was the most important thing that ever happened to me in my living room. I remember coming home and I was a terrible student, having so much homework to do, but my parents are going to kill me for having as bad a report card, but at the same time they're sitting there and they're watching must-see TV, the Thursday night NBC. There's like a string of shows that are coming that I know I can look ahead and go, oh man, and then that's on, and then that's on, and I'm so I can't not watch these shows, and Cheers was like first and center with that.
There was a young woman down here. Yes, right there.
Hi, my name's Amy. I just have one question. Pop, pop!
Yeah! Pop, pop! Magnitude!
Is that an audition?
Yes!
Pop, pop!
That was awesome.
Have great anticipation for the Modern Warfare 2 episode. It's probably the funniest magnitude jokes
Yes.
Yes.
of the season. It's in that episode.
Right down here on the my left in the front, the gentleman in the blue shirt.
Good.
You're the guy. No, it's not a blue shirt. That's it.
Hi. I was wondering about how much improv goes on during the filming and how much actually gets into the program itself.
That it increases with every episode. I mean, because people get more and more comfortable. It's really, really hard to say. So there's so many. A lot of people ask that question for a good reason, because it's the answer would be good if I would remember that. Like Donald is probably he's a writer on 30 Rock, and he's there. He's like he's got that kind of brain that's suited for that. And so you can just write a crappy joke for Donald, and then you'll get the funniest joke because they'll have to do alts. And
didn't he improvise "Set Your Phasers to Love"?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. In that episode, like maybe it's about catfish. I think probably was. I don't know. All right. They're not all gems.
Yeah.
He's not here. Be cool.
Yeah.
LeVar Burton, didn't he improvise more fish for Kunta?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
Yeah.
he did.
Otherwise, I never would have written that, because I grew up in the 70s with a racially obsessed mother that raised me to be racially obsessed. Like the word Kunta, it makes my white guilt it sends shocks through my body. So even the joke that the writers wrote, can you imagine bouncing a check to Kunta Kinte? I was like, I don't know. And then I thought, what are you doing? What is that? Where is that coming from? So and then he ad-libbed more fish for Kunta.
He was amazing.
The fellow in the back there in the blue shirt with the beard. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah.
Blue shirts are winning.
My beard thanks you. I was curious, very specifically for Joel or whoever wants to answer this. Jeff Winger recently trashed Bare Naked Ladies.
BNL, yeah.
BNL.
I'm wondering if that's a very specific poke at your time slot competitor, Big Bang Theory, which of course has a Bare Naked Ladies theme song.
I'm so sorry to disappoint you guys, but I'm telling you that was not hidden code for Big Bang Theory. That's how sad we just kept, I don't know, it was probably 6 in the morning. The writers were toast. We had worked all night, and somebody riffed that, something about Bare Naked. It was the line. It was like, he listens to you. Yeah, he also listens to Bare Naked Ladies. Go get their dumbasses to help you. And then we just went on this run, and it just because I just had this axe to grind about how heavily people defend Bare Naked Ladies. I did not know that they did the theme for Big Bang Theory, and I remember seeing on Twitter people analyzing, going, no, the most ardent supporters of the show, the champions, were the most insulting to me personally, because they're going, no, there's no way that was random, because it's too outdated a joke. It's too hacky. It's just, Dan Harmon just would never be that hack. I have Tori Amos still on my iPod. I still listen to it. Joe Russo's the music guy.
But tell me if what I'm about to say does not ruin your night. It's been overnight. See what I mean? Now that's all you're thinking about. Smoking Man's in this one.
Toward the front, he's got a hat and a green shirt over in my left.
Half a green shirt?
Half a green shirt, yes.
Half a.
Hello, everybody. This is more for the actors. If you guys could have any guest star you wanted on the show, who would you pick?
Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Oh, sorry.
I had mine. It was Malcolm Jamal.
Oh, I'm going to tell Isaiah Mustafa. You said.
No. I want to be clear on this. I said from the beginning, if Shirley reconciles with her husband, I want the husband to be Malcolm Jamal Warner, and I want her love interest to be Isaiah Mustafa. That's what I said from the beginning. So
Yes.
I want to clear that up. I still love Isaiah.
Our sitcom is just a platform she can set up to order handsome black men.
Worked so far.
Can I get half a Billy D but on the other half anchovies?
In addition to my black men, I would love Sandra Bullock. That would be awesome. That's a pipe dream, I know. It's just reaching high, but I would love her.
I said Bronson Pinchot today.
As your brother.
As my brother, Belgium. I think that'd be an interesting thing.
I like Albert Brooks.
Yeah,
Yes.
that'd be awesome.
I know that.
Defiant about it.
None of them know who the hell he is.
I know.
It's like they
Defending
were all
your life.
born when I was 28.
Gilly?
Amy Sedaris, I think, is one of the.
Yeah.
I think she would fit well in our madcap world of hilarity.
Yes, she would.
I want someone like who's the guy that's obsessed with you? What's his name? Paul Giamatti would be great. No, I'm kidding. No, I would like Peter O'Toole, someone that could come in, but he would be like a janitor. And,
How about Dr. Phil? That wouldn't be bad.
that wouldn't be bad.
He actually shoots his show directly next to us.
to us.
So we could maybe swing that.
He could just come right over.
He parks. Doesn't he park next to you, Chevy?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. I try to put dings in this. He actually has
Chevy was getting lost.
a golf cart with
lot.
flames painted. And
Love to see those kind of.
no, don't park there. That's Dr. Phil's flame golf cart.
Love to see it, yeah.
I think Dr. Phil would be good. What do you think, Ken?
I think Zach Galifianakis, I'd love to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can make that happen.
I'm going to make the microphone people work right here in the very center of the front row.
That's my Twitter buddy.
Hey, it's the Dean's doppelganger.
We are a powerful people.
Turn around.
Turn around.
Wow.
That's his brother who's like a park ranger. Yeah. He's the rugged Dean.
My question is for everybody. This is probably one of the shows that's the most social media and Twitter active, like from the writers to the actors. How much do you think that helps to turn like viewers into diehard fans, and does it actually affect the writing and where the show's going by the feedback? Did you get the direct feedback straight away?
We could ask Gwennifer that question.
Gwennifer.
I think everything affects what you're doing when you're a writer. I can see some fans getting concerned that it would affect us too much, because then they worry like, oh, if I tweet you and say, put a red hat in your show, you'll just do it? That's too much power. But if you think about it this way, like there's a window on our office building where we do the writing, and sometimes it's raining, sometimes the sun is out, sometimes Andre Brower walks by singing, because we're on the Paramount lot where they shoot men of a certain age. Okay. These things all affect you too, and all of it is unfair in how much it affects you. But yeah, Twitter is remarkable. Obviously, it's changing a lot. I got big hopes for it.
I don't even know what it is. I get email in New York.
But never before have you been able to air your show and then get a real-time response from the fans out there. And so we definitely, as a writing staff, talk about what people are reacting to, what they like, what they don't like. We don't always.
I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that saves the show creatively, because if you look at the Nielsen ratings, like if that was the only feedback I got on whether I was doing a good job, I would have hung it up a long time ago. It's just we're hanging in there and we're slugging out, but that's not a dynamic number. It doesn't shoot up because you did something awesome, and it doesn't plummet because you did something. But you watch the Twitter feed, you just hashtag community, hashtag NBC community, and I watch it religiously each time zone watches, and it's mainly just people quoting their favorite stuff because they were driven somehow emotionally to just go, oh, Troy just said that. And it's like, it blips on the radar, you know, you just get this sort of like, I don't know, you get this sense that that wasn't available 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Brown Jamie Lee Curtis became trending.
And also, when we do the show.
It's so funny because it's so true. I didn't realize it.
Hey, bird face.
Horse neck. Jamie Lee Curtis.
The actors take a beating on the show.
When we do the show, we work really long hours, and we're kind of like all sequestered. And for me, I don't even go grocery shopping, or usually when we're in production, I just eat whatever's left at the stage. So Twitter is like my only way to see people and talk to people, and I try to respond to everybody that writes me because I think it's really kind that you do. So
yeah, she tweets off camera.
I tweet a lot. I keep my phone and I tweet on set. But
by that she means she retweets Reverend Run Wisdom.
Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Twitter, and I know it's going to be corny, but you know they're called followers, and I feel like you should lead them somewhere, and it should be someplace positive. So I try to quote stuff that helps people. So
hey,
what's wrong with that?
Well,
I'll send it
Joel.
We have time for just a couple more. This gentleman here in the middle of that row, he's in a sort of a darker shirt with the large hair.
Awesome hair.
These two people are wearing matching Greendale Community College tees.
Where? Yeah!
This is for anybody who could answer. I'm asking on behalf of my friend. Are we going to see Jeff Winger shirtless again this season?
Snap, snap, pop, pop!
You're going to see it right now.
Pop, 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 pop!
A new car! a car came out of his It's yours. You drive home in it.
Yeah, you will see it, yeah.
And I just, you know, this won't be as exciting, but they asked me, they said, you know, next to Joel, they said, we just feel like you're the second sexiest person. Is there any possible way you will show your midriff? I jumped at the chance. So I'd just like to say...
You jumped at the chance like 9 times.
9 times. You know, because they were like, we need more eye candy. And I said, you had me at we need.
We're trying to draw
Wait till you see the flat episode.
Over here on my right, this gentleman with the
How about
glasses.
picking up a girl? You picked only guys.
I'm trying.
Look at them all.
Hi, I just had a question for Danny. What's it like acting as a character who is always sort of like an outside observer? He's like not really socially gifted, and he sees everything as TV. He's like a walking TV tropes wiki or something. And yet he always seems to have something going on in every episode, like even if it's in the background, like he gave birth in the background one time.
Yeah, river fingers. It's awesome. I mean, it's so challenging too because I do have to like walk around and literally go and watch Ken do something, and with a very straight face, I have to watch her sing "Hit Me With Your Genie's Bottle" and not laugh. It's constantly walking from crazy scenario to crazy scenario and not laughing and assessing. But I love it too because I feel like I am kind of like a fan. Like I'm literally like a fan that got dropped into this world of Greendale and walks around and is like, here's what's happening now, here's what's happening now, here's what's happening now. And then meanwhile, I get to go and poke my head into the dean's office and see how many Dalmatians he's playing with, you know?
Hi.
It's challenging not laughing, but it's also really fun.
All right, ladies only this time. There in the brightly colored shirt with the long dark hair.
Okay, hi. Hi.
So Abed tends to like really label every episode, like with bottle episodes or like Breakfast Club references. Is there a themed episode or like movie reference that you haven't done that you think Abed or even yourself have really been itching to do, like since season 1?
Well, the Sergio Leone thing was that that was something I've been waiting to do. I wanted a Western really, really bad. So that's very exciting for me. I want to do something with Bruce Lee, but you know, something in those kung fu movies would be fun. I don't know what else. I mean,
you mentioned No Strings Attached earlier in the year.
I did. Speaking of babies, Natalie Portman, what?
All right. One last question. In the center there with the black hair and the jacket.
Oh, the black hair and jacket.
There we go.
She's a human being.
Female.
So I was wondering, there have been a lot of interviews where Dan Harmon said that Britta is the character that's undergone the most change since the pilot, since her original inception. Inception, all right. So I was wondering what other character has undergone the most change, maybe because of the actor playing them, and which character has stayed the most true to what you originally thought?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh boy, that's a good question.
I would say Troy started out as a jock and big football player, and now he's more like Donald. He's kind of more into the arts, and so he's evolved in that way.
But is that somebody? Are you saying that's somebody who stayed the most true or the least true?
I'm saying the character has changed. That's all.
It's 4 a.m. in the writer's room.
Got to peek over and over and over. It's probably, strictly speaking, it's probably the dean because he's always stayed. I mean, we haven't like all of a sudden found out he wasn't kind of a goofball that wanted Greendale to be Harvard. I mean,
To talk about, I mean, you know, we cast Jim, I think, 24 hours before we shot the pilot.
While we were shooting the pilot.
While we were shooting the pilot, we cast him. And so I think
And we're like,
certainly
holy
evolved
crap.
the most because he was really only supposed to be in the pilot and do, you know, open the episode with a 2-minute speech, but he was so funny. And the concept was so interesting that he worked his way into the series and has become sort of comedy gold for us.
I just kept showing up, and they go, oh.
Throw him a couple don't piss off Steven Soderbergh. He's on set again.
But I think that something to illustrate that, season 1 Halloween episode, Jim is dressed in a tuxedo with like a very demure Harlequin mask. Season 2, he's dressed as Lady Gaga. Head to toe late.
I remember having, with the writers, we talk about, like, we had a really, really long conversation because I was like, okay, when we came up with the Uncle Sam thing for the like, okay, it's funny, we're gonna see him in this outfit, and I was like, just before we move forward, I'm not asking us to define this guy. I just want to make sure it's possible for there to be such a thing as a circle that can contain one human being that is excited about the vice president coming, doesn't want to make a bad impression, and therefore wants to dress in a woman's Uncle Sam outfit. And I just, every once in a while, like, let's just make sure these dots are still not too far away from each other, that we can manage to draw a line and find a cut. And we talked for a long time about this dude. And I like one of the, never mind.
I remember we were the first fitting for that, my sister's outfit. And they tried it on and it seemed good to me, and then they said, we need to come out for a fitting, they want it tighter. It was higher and tighter. So they kept pulling my pants going, is this okay with you? I guess.
If I say no, I'm fired, right?
Well, thank you very much for coming, and please thank again the cast and crew.